Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of How Did This Get Booked? I, of course, am your host, Jake Manning. I'm a veteran of the professional wrestling business for over a decade, and I've held every single job except selling popcorn. I'm joined today solely by it's a two-man booth today. I'm joined by Zane Riley. Zane, how are you doing today? No flowery intro because I got nobody to entertain other than our rabid listeners of How Did This Get Booked.
We've been together so long, you don't have to kiss me gently when I leave.
I don't, and you walked right in, didn't even knock.
No.
I had my earbuds in. I'm like, oh, that's Zane. It's like Norm coming into Cheers.
How you doing, Norm? It's a dog-eat-dog world, and I'm wearing wishbone underwear.
I think it's Milkbone, but
Wishbone, Milkbone.
Wishbone, Milkbone. We won't.
This isn't a Cheers podcast.
Well, if we ever want to,
can we?
I would love to.
I got a lot of things about Coach I want to talk about.
Like deep dark secrets or like opinions.
I read about him, like how he died. It was awful.
Okay,
well, it was real sad. Whenever you're ready to start that podcast.
When I start that podcast, 10 Bell Pod,
Yep.
It's just about people dying.
Yep.
Which is very hard to talk about.
How's that going?
I probably can openly say I've started another wrestling podcast, which may or may not get me a shitload of heat in wrestling locker rooms in the future. So it's called 10 Bell Pod, where we talk about wrestlers who have passed away, and it's basically a tribute to some. And
a fuck you to others.
Yes, we haven't done the Vader episode yet. So that's kind of...
You gotta try to let that seep down.
I'm letting that marinate. Actually, we had to delay our release of our first episode because there were some disparaging remarks said about Vader a month before he passed. So
you're saying that you might be incriminated.
Oh, I'm not incriminated. We definitely discussed it on episode 2. Like, hey, I think we killed Vader. So I'm just wondering. Cool. I wonder if that's how we want to start episode 2 or not. But it'll be 3 months after his death. So
if you got any hair on those balls of yours, you would.
Exactly. Because controversy creates cash.
That's right.
But what we were discussing today is obviously wrestling in the mainstream media, and we advertised this on our last episode that we will be discussing Season 2 of Glow. We did a full-on episode that's in our archives. It's in our list. It's for free because all of us is for free.
Are any of these for pay?
And none of them are for pay. We do all of this for free. We are the worst whores of all time. If you want to listen to
we can't even sell soap.
We can't. We obviously can't.
We can only sell 1 bar of soap.
We can sell 1 bar of soap. That's
so
how
we're worth
$5.
$5.
Exactly.
As a collective.
And it just between you and I, you're worth $250. I'm worth $250. And then if we had another person in here,
no, they're not even.
No,
they probably not even watched the show we're talking about. They just laugh along.
Yes, exactly.
They're Hal and Dan and the Laughing Man.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. They're just in the background. But we did a wonderful episode. It's one of my favorite episodes is the Glow one on Season 1. So please go ahead and listen to that once you see Season 1. But we will be discussing Season 2, so it'll be full of spoilers. We're going to be talking about plot points, all kinds of things. So if you haven't seen Season 2 yet, just shut this podcast off. Go run out and watch the whole thing. Which
it's a real quick watch.
Yeah, I think the episodes are shorter.
They were definitely shorter. Yeah. Because some of them were like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And there's a minute of intro and a minute of credits. So it's like 24 minutes some episodes.
Yeah, like you can burn through Season 2 very quickly. And I think a couple of the episodes in Season 1 were like 40 minutes long or 38 minutes long. Yeah. Where all of these in Season 2 all hover around the 30-minute mark, 32-minute mark. Very quick, very easy to watch. I know when we discussed when we were going to do this episode, when we were going to record it, I go, hey, I've only seen 3 episodes.
It might be after midnight.
Yeah, we may need to delay this. We need to do this, but I burned through them all last night after already doing an open mic earlier in the night, so I was able to get through 2/3 of the season because I'd only seen a third of it on Sunday. So, anyways, are you ready to jump into the conversation? Let's get right into it. Let's keep this at kind of a pace. We're going to go probably episode by episode in general reactions to it. Like I said, we'll be discussing Season 2 of Glow on Netflix. So we will be discussing spoilers and everything like that. This is another warning. We'll be discussing plot points. So this is not a review. This is us talking about it as we would talk about it with people who have seen it. That's basically the gem of this, because some people don't have friends.
Yeah.
That's why I listen to Game of Thrones podcasts, Westworld podcasts, because I like it when they discuss the nuances that I can't discuss with my girlfriend who doesn't watch Westworld except for the season finale. And then
ask every question prior to?
Actually, no, quite the opposite. She gets it in 5 minutes.
No. You've had to watch the entire, was it 2 seasons now? and then listen to an entire podcast of it, and
Two
you're
podcasts.
still...
I listen to two podcasts on a weekly basis to understand Westworld. My girlfriend can walk into the series, the season premiere and the season finale and get everything immediately.
Right away.
Don't know how she does it. She is an idiot savant. So, anyway, season 2, starting off with episode number 1, Viking Funeral. As we said, we are doing this episode because there are no sexual allegations hanging on Mark Maron.
Not yet.
There are no racist tweets by Alison Brie, so...
Not yet. We got to get through this real fast.
We got to get through this real fast and post this so people can listen to this episode. But Sam, Mark Maron's character, is crumbling under the pressure, which makes me relate to Mark Maron's character immediately. Because they're about to start season 2 of the actual run of Glow. We have a new character, Yolanda. She's doing the new Junk Chain character. And then they're handing out bullshit contracts for everybody to sign, which we know quite a bit about as pro wrestlers. All of the contracts in the world.
Because every company wants you to sign one of those contracts nowadays.
Yeah.
They're going to make you do it soon so you can't work for the competition down the street.
And they put people in charge of that who are real Nazis about it. I remember I got handed a contract to sign to be up here on somebody's shit show and wherever the fuck. And I was like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of writing all these contracts. I'm afraid that, signing all these contracts is just going to bite me in the ass one of these days.
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, so then I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take the sheet of paper and just throw it away. And so that's what I did. And then literally 5 minutes later, I'm like, hey, did you get the sign? You get the sign. We really need this back.
Get out of here.
You, I wish you gave this much care to the product you're putting in the ring right now. Because
you don't give shit about it right around here.
Yeah, you don't care what you just put in the ring, but you care if people have a release to be on whatever streaming service you have. So, very relatable. We get to meet different characters. Rick the director. We also get to meet Russell the camera guy,
who is awesome.
Yeah.
Very Hall & Oates-ish.
Yeah, and like as a mustache camera guy myself, I can really get behind him. So I've got 2 mustache role models. I got the younger version, I got the older version. I can get behind and immediately identify with right away.
He had hair, so that's kind of like back when you had hair.
Exactly, and it was balding, so it was kind of like when I was trying to still grow hair.
Yeah,
the girl I was dating was like, I prefer you with hair. Once you grow that out, and I'm like, okay, well you're gonna hate the results.
Yeah, you're not gonna like this afro I have.
No, you're not gonna like. You're not gonna like this Jufro that I have, which is surprising because I'm German. Like you figure that I would have
just go away, but no,
obliterated all of that within my DNA.
Nope. Did not snuff it out.
The girls go to the mall to record the intro of the episode. Real fun stuff. Also, they do the shoe phone bit, which
which should have had a better payoff.
Well, but I know why they downplayed it, because I was sitting there thinking, like, how many people know about the shoe phone or the Get Smart? Like that's the thing about the 80s. All kinds of shoe phone bits. We didn't see cell phones. Everywhere. We didn't see cell phones coming, but we were ahead of the curve.
We didn't see cell phones until episode 10.
Technology. Like we had this idea that phones weren't going to fit on our pocket. We were going to be wearing them around. So that's what we thought. So
turns out we were way off.
We were way the fuck off. Also, the gym where these girls are producing the show is called Chavo's Gym. Boxing Gym, excuse me. So there's a big sign for that.
Which is reference to, I assume, Chavo Guerrero.
I guess. It's a nice little nod to the guy who's doing a lot of the wrestling training for the girls, which we don't see a lot in the...
We only see him at the end. We see a picture of Carlito. We see a video clip of him, but
but he wrestles at the end. But
But
I'm just saying that as far as like, I'm mostly talking about the amount of wrestling.
Oh yeah,
that's in,
which is the best part of the season, and what made this show so good.
But
there's no wrestling in it.
But here's the thing. I see why they did it, because I do have in my notes like, why is there so little wrestling in the first third, almost half of the season? But there's an whole episode like, hey, we need to do more wrestling. So I feel like it's like, oh, we don't want to put too much wrestling in the front half because we need to discuss that we're going to do more wrestling, which all the wrestling on the back half are all my favorite parts.
Oh, yeah.
But all the wrestling that's in the first half of the series, or this season, is like, could take or leave.
It's a breakdance fight between a junk chain and a Russian girl.
Exactly. This is where the dance-off started. This is where Tracy Smothers got the idea to do dance-offs in ECW.
Of course.
This is the impetus for all of that. But there's a lot of the discussion, and we're slowly starting to simmer the Ruth and Debbie and the car ride and their relationship and how
Debbie's a raging cunt.
Debbie goes, you know what? I have gone through stuff emotionally recently. Like I am going through a big wave of emotions myself in my career, in my life, in my position, and even in my personal life. I've gone through a lot. And there are moments where I was like, you know what? Fuck Debbie. And then there's times where I'm like, man, I'm turning into a real Debbie right now.
I'm totes a Debbie.
I'm a totes a Debbie right now. So that makes you my Ruth.
I'll be your Ruth.
You be my Ruth. Okay. Right.
I could see you breaking my leg on coke.
Yes, that's,
I can see that happening.
Yeah, that's something that definitely is going to happen in our relationship one point in time.
And we know that.
We know that. We
get from the
come
ground
into
floor.
that, and you know I'm going to sign the cast, but we're not going to have that epic blow up.
No, not at all.
Oh God,
it could just be like a real untalkative like car ride.
Just a fist pound.
Yeah.
Give me the nuts, bro.
Yeah, here we go. Sign my cast, asshole.
But we haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that anyways. But
it is weird when we talk about it in reverse.
Yeah, we'll reverse backwards. It's
started to the end and work our way.
Very much Back to the Future, which there's a reference in that moment of the episode we're talking about. We're talking about all the good work in episode 7.
You have seen it. Which some like every episode had a really good guffaw line, like where drop line that just makes the whole episode kind of come together. It's not as based in humor. As much humor this go around, I didn't think.
But
but not that it needed to be. Not that that's lacking.
No.
They just used it more clever.
Yeah, there was a shitload of humor the first season where I feel like there's a lot more character things going on, investing in people's journey. As we'll get along here, but let's just get through episode 1 so we can move it along in chronological order. Sam's pissed about the video, fires Reggie. We don't see it come back again.
Hence the Viking funeral.
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't connect the dots until they brought her back. I'm like, oh, that's why this is called. But gosh, why do I have this line? There's certain lines that I really liked. Like I felt like, there weren't as many jokes, but there were some lines that were very cutting personally. That I was like, ooh, I'm writing. That's a good fucking line.
Get it?
Yeah, and I can't. He was like, I can't have one of them look to you for an answer.
That's where
Sam's
they finally watched the video she put together.
Yeah, it's like, I can't have one of them look for you for an answer. And I think I wrote that down because it's like I feel like I related with that somehow. Like I can't have somebody, you got to have control.
Yeah.
And just the idea that he's freaking out for having the control, but at the same time too, he needs that control for the failure, as we find out. Like we peel that onion. Like that's another thing too. Like one of the best parts of season 1 was this introduction to Mark Maron, whole character Sam. Like how amazing that is. Where I feel like he takes a back seat. The wrestling takes a back seat, which were 2 of my favorite things from season 1.
Yeah.
But episode 2, Candy of the Year. We're starting to build slow drag. They're auditioning matches.
Because they're only going to do 3 a show instead of 5.
There's a lot of things in this season that I'm like, ugh, am I really going to have to answer to this? Like, I feel like there's a lot of things in season 2 where they're like, oh, that's what all the wrestling people do.
We audition all of our matches before it's time.
Yeah, and we talk very loudly to each other in like lockups and have full conversations. And there's a couple of them. I think I got a couple of them written down, but there's a lot of them like, oh God, no, I don't want to answer this question. I'm like, oh, I don't want people to think that every wrestler does this. No. This is what I really truly do.
And not to say that some don't.
Yes, not to say, but I'm just saying.
Maybe not in audition form, but definitely in a let's do this 8 million times and still talk about it loudly.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. This is where we go over the dance sequence, Yolanda and Ruth. I like the audition of Yolanda.
It's different, it's definitely something they needed as far as breaking up the monotony of wrestle.
Yeah. Exactly, and I like how they do the white girl that tries to dance act, but they're like, no, the white girl that can dance.
But then she gets it.
A nice little hard left that I like right there. This is where we have the meeting at Debbie's house because she's obviously made herself.
Just welfare queen shows up only.
Which, you know what, like Kia, and I told my girlfriend this. I'm like, because obviously they were in the Entourage together,
of course,
and I was just like. I was like, babe, like Kia is really good this season. Like they they leaned very heavy on her in the first part of this season.
Yeah.
And for somebody who's a pro wrestler to come in and do such a good job acting,
yeah,
I was like, oh, this is good for professional wrestling, because the perception for a long time is like, yeah, pro wrestlers can do what they do, but they can't act.
Yeah.
Look at Frankie goes to Frogtown. Freddie goes to Frogtown.
Hell goes to Frogtown.
Hell goes to Frogtown. Oh, I'm sorry. Hell and Fred. I get the two mixed up.
They're the same.
Yeah.
Just go back and listen to that episode of How Did This Get Booked?
Yes. So, but yeah, like you think people always reference how that wrestlers can't act, or they go to Mr. Nanny or whatever else.
Suburban Commando or any other Hulk Hogan movie.
Yeah. And
Santa with Muscles, which you can also find in the back
And you could say The Rock is a big blockbuster guy, but nobody's saying he's the next Marlon Brando.
Which they should.
They should. They really should. Like, imagine Streetcar Desire starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yep.
Where he's just like...
But he's the car.
Stella! Stella!
Can you
smell what The Rock is cooking?
That's how you get Academy Awards right there.
That's exactly how you do it. But, good little character development there. I dig that. Justine Sam. Good father-daughter moment. We're building the character development of Justine and Sam. In some of the wrestling, there's like pre-bumps of clotheslines, and I'm just like...
I was looking at, I think Cabana posted a picture of Liberty Bell giving Viking Reggie the boot, and she misses by like a foot and a half. But then, added it to the Botchamania guys.
Yeah. Like, there was a lot of... It was a little suspect there for the first half of the season.
But it wasn't necessarily untrue to how it was in Glow back
that's
then,
how we can
like,
forgive this. That's
yeah,
why
exactly.
we can always... that's how I can always forgive the wrestling.
I would always love for them to be like... I would love to think that somebody was like, oh, no, would you miss that a little bit more? Could you make that look a little less?
Because that's why I think Glow works as well as it does, is because they're portraying wrestlers that weren't top-notch wrestlers at that time. There were a lot of actresses that were thrown in there and taught just enough wrestling moves to make it passable, which is the exact same thing
they're doing here.
All these actors are doing on this show. So it's the wrestling doesn't drop off immensely. It's not like when Mickey Rourke does something, it's like a guy of his stature who's been wrestling for 20 plus years would not do that.
Yeah.
So there's not that it's like takes you out of it. It's like no. Actresses that were taught how to wrestle would do that same exact thing.
Yeah.
So that's that's a little bit more forgivable. But a lot of talking in the ring without a microphone, which is my biggest pet peeve, because it forces the audience to be quiet. I hate it when wrestlers are like, hey man, don't do this and no, don't shut the fuck up.
Get the mic. No, I can project. No, the fuck you can't.
Yeah, and don't project, because then it forces the audience to be quiet, and then they're not yelling or clapping or getting excited during their match because they're trying to listen to the clever little line that you're going to spout off when they're wrestling.
That you're going to fuck up anyway.
And you know what they're going to do? Because they'll be listening intently. They're going to hear you calling spots, and that's going to take them out of them immediately. So you don't want to give that away. But yeah, that's all I got for episode 2. Anything else? Episode 2? We'll move to episode 3. Concerned Women of America.
The PSA.
Yes, the PSA is my theory of life. I will say that kids will ruin your life. Like, that's
what a real harsh take on kids, though. Like, you can't do anything in the world if you have a kid.
But I like how it comes back to bite them.
Yeah.
The next episode or so, where they're like, well, the owner of the station,
he was the kid.
The kid was born. His mom was 15. Yeah. It wasn't all that great.
He's not an advocate, but he doesn't want to.
Doesn't want to discourage that.
So we lost our sponsor.
Yeah. So I like how that.
It's a way to fuck it up.
Yeah. So I like how that builds all around it. But yeah, the whole PSA is great, and of course the girl is trying to. Getting a little horned up.
Trying to go for a fuck party, even though the girl's got a whole bunch of poo-poo in her belly.
Who hasn't been there before?
Yeah, right?
Who hasn't been there before?
They're right now.
Yeah. Which, I don't know if they toned it down, but, there wasn't as much, I feel like last season had an abortion, bit in it.
Yeah.
And I ran into a few of the females that were a part of the original Glow through my travels and ups and downs and stuff like that, and they some of them kind of shrugged their shoulders at some of that stuff, and especially some of them were like, I really hated that. That's not what Glow was about. Abortions and stuff like that. Yeah. And at first when I listened, I'm like, it's a TV show, get over it. Yeah. But then now that I've pulled away from it, they are taking a lot of elements from the original Glow, like even so much like a gruesome injury and the girls rally behind that, and you're taking some of the same exact characters and doing some of the same exact promos or similar promos. So you're taking a lot of real life stuff and from the actual Glow and taking actual characters that are similar to, and then you're adding this whole backstory to. So if you were one of those people, if you were the Russian girl, like, listen, I didn't fuck my best friend. So, you know what I'm saying? So like, but you're portraying that, and if I say that
now I was like a piece of shit.
Yeah. So if I'm saying that I was the Russian on Glow,
like, oh, you whore.
Oh, you fucked your best friend. Everybody sees this as a documentary because there's people that aren't that smart. So I could see how you would have those weird feelings about it if you were one of those people and they portrayed you as something that you were not on this particular show. But at the same time, so TV show, get the fuck over.
Yeah, right. I'm sure you made a little bit of money off this.
So. And also, it gets the name out there of the product and gets people to book you at things where I run into you where you express your opinions.
Yes.
So,
no, they're the women of wrestling now, aren't they? Isn't that what that became eventually? Like, 'cause a lot of those girls from, it's like the newer company,
Wow.
Amber. Wow, yeah, wow.
Yeah, because David McLean from the original Glow.
Aren't a couple of those still involved? I thought like the main lady that's with them was.
Well, here's the thing that's interesting, and we'll probably see that in the different incarnations of the seasons of Glow as it continues on, hopefully for a while, so we can see these things, is they would make these changes to it. Like there was originally Glow, and then it would become LPWA, or it would become something else, and then it became like WOW, Women of Wrestling, and then the second incarnation of WOW, or it becomes something else. Like there's always some form, or the Wrestlelicious, like somewhere in between there. Like there's these different incarnations, and they would use some of these similar girls at these different junctures, and some of the girls would fall off, some of them would come back, some would come back in again. But the idea of it always constantly evolving into different companies and people splitting apart, like you'd have a third of the people from the original Glow, or a third of the people from LPWA, or whatever incarnation. You know, there'd always be a need for this particular type of wrestling, and it'll be interesting to see when Glow becomes something else and it becomes a touring, and they move it around, and the different incarnations of it. Like you could probably see like a moment where Bash has a female wrestling company and Sam has a company because he has an Angel over here, or whatever, how it breaks down. It'll be interesting to see as the seasons go the evolution of that. But we'll get to that at the end. But episode 3, I just have written down Debbie's a cold bitch.
Oh man,
this is before
where she gets her producer credit. Like she redid her contract.
This is I was like episode 1. This is where she screws over Ruth having a date.
That's right.
With
Makes
Russell,
her stick around, do the voiceover for the PSA
just to fuck her over.
Yeah.
So dig that.
Sorry you missed your date with Russell.
Yeah.
Oh, you bitch.
Oh. It gets deep. But then this is episode 4 is where it all kind of turns with Debbie, which is the mother of all matches, and mother as in you have two mothers wrestling. And this is the episode where you get to really see, you know, Kong. You're like, wow, she is, because they're wearing different hats, and you're seeing this emotional journey that both these women take before they ever step into the ring. And this is like, before this episode 4, I was like, I'm not buying this season. Like, I don't know if I'm going to like the rest of this season. It's going to be tough to do this podcast and
try to shit on everything.
Yeah, not shit on everything, because this is nothing. All the stuff that I like isn't happening. But, and also, too, like, season 1 had a lot of things like, oh, you really paid attention to professional wrestling. Yeah. You know, Liz and Carly. You really paid attention to the nuances of what I do, and I appreciate that. The stuff that a male writer probably didn't get in other aspects of when they portray professional wrestling in other forms of media. But you, for whatever reason, got this because of your talent or whatever. There was something that you caught that nobody else caught, and I appreciate what you're doing here. And, I wasn't getting a lot of that. It was just like, oh, we're just pushing these characters and wrestling's in the background.
This is now a drama show that has wrestling in it.
But when Debbie and Welfare Queen were going through everything they were going through right before they went out through the curtain, and as soon as their music hit, you can see a distinct change in their character and becoming their character. I was like, oh, yeah, that's That's a nuance to everybody. Because as we always say, the toughest thing about professional wrestling is just getting in the ring.
Yeah.
And the fact that these women had to go through all of these personal things and all these emotions and deal with all this stuff in their personal life, and then just rushing to get your gear and to get there, and then the driving, and then get there, and then you have to turn it on and be at 100% and fully engaged in your character before you walk out there. And sometimes it's a very hard shift from where you feel at that time. That I was like, oh yeah, like you. That's true to life.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody has portrayed that in any form of anything.
Yeah.
As far as like anytime we've talked about exposure to professional wrestling in this media, or any of the mediums. Like you didn't see that with a wrestler. He was just
I'm always this.
I'm always grumping. I'm always on. I'm always but the idea of no matter how bad it sucks beforehand, just having to
it's time to do business.
Yeah, and that's how I'm very reserved and quiet. Some people would say dickish and prickly.
I don't think some. I think most.
All.
I think it's a higher number than some. But you say what you say.
But acidic is probably maybe a better way to describe my personality. Low key and just very turned off. But when I go through the curtain, I always try to make that shift as well, as to be something more and bigger and better than myself, or worse than myself sometimes. So. I just like wrote in there, they nailed it.
Yeah.
They nailed that one little thing right there, that little nuance. I was like, yes, you have been paying attention. and that's all I've ever asked for of like examples of pro wrestling and mainstream media is like, just understand one part of it, just 1/10 of it. See something that it's not like, oh, you go in there and beat people up. Oh, is it real? Is it fake? Oh, put me in a headlock. Yeah, or whatever bullshit it is. But, it's like, oh, they just
I do that.
They just fly around. They got masks and they talk to each other. They could, like,
trampoline.
In such broad strokes, but to get down to the nuances of what we do and what we are as performers, like I think that's the beauty of Glow in general, is that they, like I said, I don't know, why specifically that you've had all these examples of professional wrestling in mainstream media, but that's not until you get a basically almost all female run writer's room, director, producer, they get it so right.
Yeah.
Like there has to be some sort of magic in their talent or whatever they're seeing, and I don't want to make it a biological thing, but like everything else.
But bitches be strong as hell.
Are observant, and be able to boil it down specifically to emotion.
Yeah.
And back to the match of it, I was watching this episode, and when Alison Brie's character basically steals the child as if it is Liberty Bell's daughter, Josie's like, oh yeah. That's female wrestling at the core. Because Josie told me a story about how she had wrestled somebody's retirement match, and she was wrestling this woman who was a mother, and she power bombed her. And Josie, being the good heel that she is, after power bombing this little girl's mother, Josie walked over to the little girl and said, "I just killed your mother." And then continued on. This girl was so upset that she was still crying about it. After the match had happened, after her mother had gotten up and won the match, after her mother had the little child sitting on her lap and saying, "Mommy's okay, Mommy's okay," Josie looked at her and said, "I killed your mother." Even still, not backing down,
that's
even
awesome.
in the locker room.
Yeah.
But that's very much a female wrestler thing. Like, I stole your daughter.
Yeah.
As soon as Josie heard that, that's
real.
That's female wrestling at its best. So
that's how it's done, kid. Learn something, Jake.
Yeah, learn something there. But I love the way the match is filmed. I just the way the camera moves within the ring there. I really dig the way this came off.
It sucks you in and makes you actually feel like you're watching a real.
You're right in
produced wrestling show.
Yeah. Well, produced wrestling, you're not that far into the ring like that. Like, you're in there as if you're the ref.
Yeah.
And I really dig that. Although I didn't like some of the wrestling with it. Some of it, there was something like, I don't know about going to a lockup in the end.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I don't like that. Like, you could have grabbed a sleeper hold and still communicated all that stuff. You could have grabbed a hold there, or you could have gone to a bear hug.
Yeah.
Even too, that would have that would have worked just as well as opposed to just going to a lockup randomly in the finish.
Just getting it again, Bubba.
I know. I don't know. That's me being nitpicky. And like we did with season 1, we had to be very nitpicky to find things we didn't like. And that was one of the things I didn't like. So, but great acting job by Kia.
And then the building of the relationship. Like, she brings her son to the show for the first time, and she's so worried about how he's going to react to it because she basically called him a minstrel, or he's already called her a minstrel. You know?
Yeah.
So and then she has to go out there and actually does it. I thought she was going to go into business for herself and win because that's how it felt. But she still did the business and had to face her son after being this over the top racial a looked down upon person, and everybody telling her to get a job and all that, and how that felt to her college attending Stanford son.
Just because I play this doesn't mean that this is who I actually am, but pro wrestling blurs the line so much. But that even comes back to the whole thing of you go through the curtain, you're a different person. There's a lot of layers to this episode 4 about it. It's like, oh, I'm not that person. I'm a completely different person. Yeah. And they make that very clear in the episode. And then they come back out of it and they show, well, you portrayed this out there. Yeah. People think this is what you are.
Yeah. And how he doesn't understand it. But I liked how in the end of it all, he was proud of her for doing that.
Yeah, because you're putting yourself out there and you're doing something that isn't you, but you're saying it is you and putting yourself. It's just very unique. It blurs that line enough, and the fact that he just kind of shrugs his shoulder and still loves his mom.
Yeah.
And
he didn't agree with it, but you're having fun. You're doing great.
And I like that we address the offensiveness of wrestling.
Yes,
because there are things about pro wrestling that are offensive, and I think there are aspects of it should remain a little bit offensive because we are holding a mirror to society. But I know we're not always supposed to do that, and sometimes that turns people off. As I stare at a picture of Sergeant Slaughter over your shoulder, and I just listen to the Something to Wrestle With episode of WrestleMania 7, and they talked about how that was in poor taste. But at the same time, too, when you get in that wrestling bubble, it's I don't know. I think there's things to explore with professional wrestling that you're not going to explore in any other media.
Yeah.
But I like this episode.
It was very good.
I'll say this: if people say I wasn't feeling season 2, I'd be like, hey, did you get to episode 4?
Did you stop at the beginning?
Yeah, because I got 10 minutes into episode 4 and I had to run out the door to go do a comedy show in Raleigh, and I was driving up there. I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna like the rest of the season. But as soon as I picked it back up last night. Very happy.
Big push home.
Yeah, after the first 10 minutes of episode 4 on. Loved everything that happens. Especially when we get to episode 5, Perverts Are People Too. Patio Town is upset about their chair breaking so fast. And
him referring to it as a pile of twigs.
Mm-hmm. So, this is where they talk about selling merch.
Where we get into the beautiful world. I thought we were getting, well into our way to start doing customs.
Yes.
That's where I thought we were going.
That's true.
They got real oh man, we're going to have custom stuff on here.
See, I think that's an even darker secret that I don't even know.
That they would know about that?
I don't know.
Not that I'm knocking customs.
No,
those girls make balls of money.
Yes. But I don't know if even the writers and producers of this show, as observant as they are, have heard about that yet.
Okay.
I don't know if the people that they have around them are the wrestling experts. Like I said, Chavo did a fantastic job of okaying and clearing with things with them on hey, this is how it's done, or hey, this is what it's like. And they took that note and ran with it. But I don't know if that's been discussed yet. I know if I was a technical expert, that's one of the first things I would suggest.
All right, ladies, first day, customs work.
Customs works. Apartment wrestling stuff. Yep. So,
what do you guys think about tickling each other?
Have you heard of a woman named Hollywood? So, speaking of which of that, Ruth and her creepy invite from Tom Grant, much in the same ways that I think season 1 was definitely a response to the shift politically in our country and becoming strongly Republican and the attack on women's rights, basically. and the threat of women's rights being taken away and the Women's March and everything that was going on. I think season 1 is a response to that, where I feel like this is the moment in season 2 where we respond to the Me Too movement, and we get in depth with it too, especially we get into Ruth and Debbie's conversation.
Her reaction, which is insanely night and day different from her and Sam's reaction to the situation.
Yeah, and I think that's any woman that's been put in the position that Ruth has been put in the position in episode 5, when they tell somebody what what's happened, especially somebody that's linked to a production or anything like that, you would want Sam's reaction.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Whether he goes off and breaks his car windows or not, it's
no,
whatever.
Totally for it.
But like, I just told you something that I'm embarrassed about, and anybody that's been put in that position has been embarrassed.
Yeah.
And for Debbie's response to be like, "What? You can't fucking get at it? What the fuck?" Because there were a lot of women that, when the Me Too movement was happening, took the position of what Debbie had. So I feel like this conversation and what's going on in this episode explores all angles of the situation. But there is a line that Ruth says that I really like. There's one of my favorite lines is, "Nothing in my life is quite what I've wanted." And I don't know why that one hit me so hard. Yeah. Like I said, I'm going through a Debbie journey. I'm going through a Debbie journey myself. So, but
you gonna start selling all the furniture around here soon?
It's
not that couch. I just bought that couch.
Not that couch. Maybe not that bed. So.
But everything else, it's up in the air.
Yeah,
one good breakdown and maybe.
Oh yeah. I almost got through my baseball card collection. Like, I'm just gonna do this, empty out this closet. Yeah. And then I'm afraid that's gonna send me through a spiral.
Then there goes your wrestlers, and there goes your WrestleFest arcade machine,
and then I just have all this money in my couch and nothing in my house. So
sleeping on the floor.
But like I said, they explore all options, especially with Debbie, where she's like, feminism has principles, life has compromises.
Damn.
Yeah, like, and this is just the tip of the iceberg of what we're gonna see with these two women throughout this whole season. Which,
up until this, like, it seemed like they were kind of repairing their friendship, and like maybe they can at least work together proper. And then we're just right back down to fuck you, Debbie.
Yeah, I bet, but that's realistic.
Yeah.
You don't get that storybook ending. And there's a lot of shit for them to fucking deal with. As we'll find out in later episodes. Yeah. Actually, in 2 episodes, I think. Because we're going to discuss episode 6, which is called Work the Leg. And they talk about a men's wrestling show having more wrestling than them. So that's why I feel like this has been intentionally set up to have a lack of wrestling. So when we get to this episode, we're like, hey, this is going to be wrestling heavy because we want to be more wrestling heavy. Yeah. Because we need to be more wrestling heavy because we've been goofing around. And it's that idea of mixing comedy, goofy, character-driven wrestling with actual moves.
Yeah.
So they're exploring that essence of it too. And Carmen's speech, when she's just telling everybody to fucking cut the shit. Let's fucking get to it. And This Is It by Kenny Loggins comes on.
Like all things should happen.
Yeah, like Starcade, you know. Yeah. This is it. This is it. All you need is like a shot of like tonight on Starcade 83.
Greensboro Coliseum. Closed circuit captioning.
We already discussed like Sam's conversation with Ruth about fuck that guy.
Yeah.
And Sam was like, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that fucking I have something to fucking blame. As we all do, all creative types, you know, that are insecure.
It's not my fault. It's not your fault.
Yeah. Funny story. This past weekend, Clint Noir recorded his first CD. He was putting a lot of his bits, and he's going to get a CD out there. He's been doing comedy for over a decade. Easily moved to New York. He's making a lot of changes, but he came back to Charlotte to record a CD at the Evening News, and I kind of wanted to go there to be supportive. I drove all the way back up from Florida to make sure that I'm there for this show, to see Clint Noir and support him, because I had a feeling he was going to self-sabotage himself.
Oh, very good.
Because I know his personality, but then there was a heckler in the front row that ruined a lot of bits. And I'll be honest, I was happy that happened, because I was like, good. now he has something to blame.
So when this sucks, it's not just he sucks.
But no, he can just focus on his performance.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't have to self-sabotage myself.
Somebody's got to go do it for me.
Somebody's doing it for me right now. Oh, thank God. I can just focus on myself as opposed to, am I fucking up? Don't fuck up. He can just focus on himself. Yeah. So I was happy that there's a heckler there because it kind of focused him. And I think he's going to end up having enough because he did it. I think he did an hour, so he's just got to trim it all down to half an hour. And I think
he's cut out that heckler.
Yeah, I think he's got more than enough. And he was smart enough to realize that he had to start a couple bits over. And when he started bits over, people were very supportive because, like, the owner of the Evening Muse came over.
Did anybody say, fuck that guy? And like, hey, man, fuck off.
Yeah, we all did. And he's like, fuck y'all, I got my $6. Like, the Evening Muse is a very laid back, hippie-ish
very
place.
hippie. It's not ish.
There's very, very accepting of other people. But like, the owner was having none of it, stood in front with his arms crossed. It was actually it was like, you need to go. Like, no, I'm not. And then it wasn't until Clint was like, no, leave him. Because I think Clint was like, oh, I have an excuse. Leave my excuse for things for this not to go perfectly right there, because this is doing a service to
This is doing it for me.
This is doing it for me. Because we have very similar personality types. So I knew that's what he was looking for, but I was just there to be supportive. So Sam's very much the same person.
Yes.
So basically what I'm saying is me, Sam, Sylvia, and Clint Nork. Same person. Debbie's at a car wash. Sees her husband.
Goes to see her baby.
Yes.
Then meets the lady that called her on the phone.
Yeah, which... Was he really... So I don't know. Like that. Like I don't know who to believe in that situation. That like, was he really trying to make things just like home, or was she like, oh, that's a really comfortable bed to fuck on? Like, I don't know.
He seems to like he becomes a pretty tolerable person as the season goes on. So I would assume it was to help acclimate the baby.
But we don't know.
We don't. No. By any
that
means.
curveball of her actually being the person that called about the bed.
No. So does that mean she was actually his secretary, and then he started fucking the secretary, or was she just calling the call?
I don't know.
Because that is a very, in general, room that she called from. It wasn't necessarily at home, but it wasn't necessarily his office.
Mm-hmm. And there's no other... Let's see, now we're getting into details.
Yeah.
This turned into a Westworld podcast real fast. Is she or is she not a host? That's the question.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what
Can I beat her and then she goes back to normal the next day? How many times have I murdered her?
Is she fully conscious? Like, is she has full consciousness, or is she only partly woke? And what timeline is she really on?
Which one?
That's what I want to know.
I know just enough about Westworld to be dangerous.
Yes. We also get a really slow count in one of the matches towards the end.
They have a full conversation in between all of it.
Yeah. Really, really odd. I'm like,
is this it?
Yeah.
Just count the damn thing.
And Bash is like, in a blink of an eye. Good. Debbie all coked up, breaks Ruth's leg.
You know, it's got to happen sometimes.
Yeah, surprised it hasn't happened.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Which they kind of let it go. Like, I figured there'd be more to the persecution of Debbie for almost intentionally breaking Ruth's leg. Mm-hmm. But they just kind of, after it happens, it happens. Mm-hmm. She just brings her some clothes, signs her cast, and all's well again.
Accidents
after a
happen.
huge... not the fact that you were just coked out of your mind for a minute.
But in episode 7, Nothing Shattered, we get one fucking hell of a fucking scene.
The favorite part is, one of the best parts of this entire series was, I don't know if she told you, but we had a fight. Oh, everyone knows you had a fight. The lady, the cashier in the gift shop was laughing about it.
Yeah, she still hasn't stopped talking about it.
That was the best. Like, that was a really good line there.
Oh, yeah. Bash after, like, when he's in there and said he's paid for it. And, like, just the lines like,
how much?
Back to the Future, like, oh, you have seen it. Like,
yeah, that was a good one.
He's just as good in this episode as any of the other episodes.
I paid for this because there's no way you could possibly ever pay for it.
Oh, his spot is written so well in that like 2-minute span is so fucking good.
I can't afford you girls to do this again. I can afford for 2 girls.
I'm just thinking like God, like there's so many jokes in there for that character. Like whoever wrote that 2-minute sequence that he did, just unbelievable.
Yeah,
like that's just great. Like the fact that you could have this insane back and forth fight the way you do, and write that out and script that, and then come back with this amount.
This guy just dropping liners.
Oh God, like we could have done a third of that work, and I would have been happy. But just like bam, bam, right after another. Like episode 7, one of my favorites for sure. But we're gonna get into my favorite for sure. But yeah, great. The montage of making Ruth feel better. Fun little thing.
All the girls coming together.
But yeah, the whole argument fight scene between Debbie and Ruth. Oof, it's just stripping down to the exact emotion of everything, and we're just.
I want to know how they got in the zone for that. Like, I would love that they had to go like just either legit talk shit to one another until they started crying and then go to their part, or like they had to go talk shit to themselves.
Yeah, like as an actor, what do you have to do to get to that level? Yeah. Like I remember listening to a Mark Maron podcast. To tie it all in, Jason Bateman was talking about how he gets himself to cry on set. That he says like, I need some time alone in a trailer, and I start thinking about some very awful things, and then I need to be brought to the set a few minutes before my scene because I'm wound up and I will explode very fast. So you need to come get me immediately as I need to go, and I need to keep this in my mind. And then when you say action, I'm going to get myself to that place very quickly. So like, he has a whole procedure how he can cry and be emotionally distraught. And I have this feeling of murder of a family member.
Yeah, it has to be something fucked
like
up.
It has to be something very fucking dark. Which is something I've only, since hearing that interview, I've tried to explore myself. Like I have a playlist on my iPod that if I need to cut a promo a certain way, I make sure that I listen to that. Or if I'm wrestling a particular way and an attitude I have to have in the ring, I listen to that. Especially during a stand-up set. Yeah, I've been doing recently because I'm trying to do something a little bit more different. Something just trying to have something come out of me on stage. After having a conversation with somebody recently, I feel I need to change something, and I don't know if everybody's going to like it, and I don't think everybody's going to like my process.
It's going to be an oversized suit coat?
No, it's going to be a lot of anger. There needs to be a sadness to it. So we got to find a little happy medium there. But I listen to a playlist that put me in a mood.
What's some of these songs on that playlist?
A lot of Jawbreaker.
Yeah, really? Oh, that's good. That's good.
A lot of Jawbreaker.
Yeah.
A lot of.
Almost
all Jawbreaker.
Oh, it's just Jawbreaker.
It's just Jawbreaker.
It's I Kiss the Bottle on repeat. And,
actually, it's the Dear You album.
Oh, very good. It's a good album.
All the way through.
Mine is just The Highwaymen by The Highwaymen on repeat.
Okay.
Where they just talk about how they all die on their jobs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Gets there.
Gets you there. Gets you to that place.
And probably some like front bottoms and some shit like that. But yeah, it's definitely The Highwaymen.
But if I want to lighten it up, I got Frank Zappa. One size fits all.
Yeah.
That's the only one. That's the only one of his albums I can listen to. All the other ones like no.
Don't get it.
Don't get it. But this one, one size fits all.
Got it.
Fits me.
Damn it! I was just about to say it. Fuck.
Oh, I've had that realization many a times.
I have it written down here. Work this line in. We're at 7 or 8.
We are at 8, which is called The Good Twin. Which when I was just doing a little bit of research, this episode title popped up immediately, and now I see why. Most critics consider this an instant classic, the best of the entire run of this second season, and I can kind of see why. Yeah. They basically do a standalone episode, which is like an episode of Glow.
Yes.
What were your thoughts on this?
Fucking fantastic.
I knew you would say
that. Man.
So you go ahead.
As soon as it started, it's like, are they just going to do this entire episode? Oh my God, they are. This is amazing. And they eat that goat. I love that they insinuated that Sheila was going to fuck that goat. And then he sexually assaulted her, and then she ate it instead.
That's all turn around.
I love that.
Hashtag Matt2.
Matt2. That's good. Did you write that down too?
No, I didn't. I came up with it.
Fucking this guy.
Alpha Brain's firing right now.
Been listening to that Jawbreaker before I got here. Was that what you had on your earbuds when I got here?
Exactly.
Welfare Queen's doll. Which is a black baby doll's head on a black wrestling action figure's body, which was fucking cool.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Yeah. That makes sense. I'm like, how is she making dolls? Nobody ever discussed that. But I guess, okay, you picked up on that.
Yeah, it was real cool. I just we have the new introduction of Black Magic now, since she lost the Junk Chain name, which Black Junk Chain and Cholo Junk Chain, real fucking racist. Real bad. Like, doesn't cancel each other out bad.
Yeah. Which, I'm not mad at Black Magic. So, Like and cherry bang. Like I really dig all of that.
Yes.
Put me in the fields.
Britannica getting her brain back by sticking a floppy disk into her vagina.
Because we all know floppy disks hold maybe 25 megs. Maybe.
That's all that she has in her brain.
Maybe like 500 kilobytes.
Yeah.
KBs.
Just right up her cooch.
Yep. Just right up there.
Or butt. Like, I'm not really going to... whatever you want.
I don't know what that slot looks like down there.
I don't know how it would work.
Yeah, I don't.
Come on.
No clue.
I'm a dude. I'm not going to mansplain to you how a vagina is.
No, definitely not. Also, actual commercials.
Yeah. The Quilt and Be Easy commercial that they talked about earlier in the season.
Mm-hmm. And then...
and Howard's O's with new Caliente flavor.
And then Don't Kidnap. The song, the album.
Yeah.
Great. Beirut's dance sequence. Also, too.
Beirut is awesome in this show.
Oh, yeah. And Arthi, like, she's normally just kind of, like, worked out, just hunched over and not, like gussied up. But when she got gussied up, I'm like, ooh.
What up, girl?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's what I'm into now. Changing teams, Jake?
Listen, I've said it once and I've said it 1,000 times. I have a thing for darker skinned women. Because why would I want to smash another fucking pale white person against my skin?
Gross, right?
I don't. Obviously, ethnicity, it makes no difference to me. But if your ethnicity has you darker skin than me, I dig it. I'll even take a woman that's very, very tan. Yeah, I've taken that before, but it's like the way that some men prefer blondes. I prefer a darker skinned woman.
Yep.
And I am
not Beirut, just giving it out.
I was like digging every bit of it. And her and Yolanda becoming a thing, and I'm just like, for this.
Yeah.
See it
for it.
See it for both of you.
Yeah.
See why you two are attracted to each other, because I'm attracted to both.
Both of you guys are gonna have beautiful scissoring later. I'm so happy.
Magnets coming right together.
Yep.
I see it from both of you for sure. But the whole episode leading to the Savannah Rose dilemma, and then fighting Viking, and just it's fun.
It was great, yeah.
And it's very similar to what Glow kind of was.
Yeah.
So you get to see a glimpse of that, and like I said, it comes back to all these female wrestlers from the original Glow saying, "Well, you're just doing what we did," and these girls aren't acting the way we acted, or I'm more conservative than liberal, and I can see why they would get upset, because it does portray it very much so. But this is just gives you an idea of what they were doing, what they were putting out there. And I'm glad that we did this, because as we find out the TV show goes away, that we get to see what the TV show would have looked like. And I think this is a brilliant idea.
Yeah, no, this is fantastic. Exactly what the season needed.
And this right here, this episode, is exactly the way, not to put it out there, but Michael, the owner of High Spots, wants Queens of Combat to be.
Which is ironic, because like when he was first talking to us about doing it, he's like, I want Glow. I'm like, all right, so we watched some Glow. He's like, all right, so you just want silly skits? But then watching them produce this, being invested with these characters that I got invested with, and then watching them actually do it in full spectrum, it's like, fuck, this is what we should definitely be doing. Like, we're trying what we can, but, different pieces, different reasons that's why we can't. But this was fucking cool.
It's a lot of logistical problems.
Yeah.
Because you're expected to do 6 episodes like this episode 8, 2 hours before a wrestling show, which is next to impossible.
Yep. You have to take 12 matches and make, we're making 8 TVs out of them. And some of the matches are like super short, or we have fewer matches for whatever reason happens. Like we had 6 planned, 5 happen. So now we have to make, each episode has to be 1 match. So we have to throw in all this other shit. But sometimes it's hard to get these girls to want to do that shit, or there's not
you have
time
travel
to
issues.
do it.
You have not time. There's not, and then of course you have to go on different locations and like.
Which we don't. We have one small ass building to get all that shit done. We have no sets. It's insanely unfathomable sometimes.
Yeah, that you would want to produce a product exactly like this, but like the whole
and we're given a shoestring budget to do it, like meaning no budget.
Less than even what Glow even has, and their whole season's about like they're making get by with what they have. They have a bigger building that they shoot in, and they're talking about how small their building is. Like
I'm running 2 shows a day in this motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. They're running a show every single week to just get what they're doing. Like the fictional building of Glow is 3 times the size of the actual building that you're asked to run Queens of Combat of.
They're there every day. I've got 6 hours.
Yes.
I've got 6 hours, and I've got 2 camera guys.
To produce what they're talking about for 20 weeks. So...
I got my Jake and I got my Seth, and that's all I got.
Exactly.
And it's just a bunch of Jake just snarling and shaking his head no.
Well, listen, when people move my lights, when I just get them set, I don't care that people have to walk around that light set. I set it there for a reason because I just got it perfect, so it's not too shimmery. Okay?
Yeah, get it right.
Get it right. Just walk around my light set. That's all. That's all I have to say.
No, brother, I'm there. I get it. I know.
But episode 9, Rosalie.
Gotta calm down a little bit. Now I'm just angered about
which kind of episode 9 is a bit of that, even though there is a lot of yelling. This is where we discuss a lot of Sam's relationship with Justine and going to a dance, and this is
where her mom tries to come bring her back home.
Bring her home, and we're telling that story. But yeah, because the whole episode 8 ends with Rosaline going like, "There's Justine." Boom, and then goes get her. We get a lot of Sam development. The introduction of Horatio Sands' character.
Love it. Horatio Sands, one of the best parts of this show. Because he kind of out there is like, is that Horatio Sands?
Oh, yes.
What a random cameo.
Not as random as the kid from Sandlot.
Yeah.
As Cupcake.
Oh, Ham Porter.
I see. You know what? I was going to do a research. I'm like, I wonder if I need to do research on what his character's name was in Sandlot. And I'm like, no, I will just expect Zane to come to this podcast with that piece of information.
The great Hambino.
So, there you go. Because it's been a while. I've only seen Sandlot maybe 3 times in my life.
Really? I think I saw it 3 times last week.
Okay. Well, I saw it twice while I had my arm broken, or I was deathly sick, or I had pneumonia. I was in a hospital.
Most of it was a fever dream.
Yes, most of it was a fever dream. So I'd have to watch it again. So I really saw half of it, and then another fourth of it. So I've seen 3/4 of it.
Yeah.
Cognizantly. I love the bong hit bit.
Cherry bong.
Yeah. Well, I just like when they go like, "Don't worry, Carmen's got it," and you go to her hitting a bong.
Yeah.
The person you least expect.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, man, maybe I should buy a bong. Maybe I should take up smoking marijuana so I can buy me a bong. Yeah. They're having fun.
They're having a lot of goddamn fun. Yeah. So much that they don't want to wrestle, which is something you're like, dude.
Which is exactly what I don't want to
do. Bash and Debbie are at the cable convention. Pull off
using the Whisper campaign. Which I love the long explanation of Muppets Take Manhattan. To tell her about the Whisper.
Then Bash, we haven't discussed anything Bash's relationship with his butler.
Yeah.
And another thing I was looking up when I was looking up the Good Twin episode, because I was looking for critical reviews, and people were like, "Is Bash gay?" And I'm like, I've been saying that since season 1.
Duh.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah.
And like you don't know that, you don't see that.
Well, I looked at it when we let's talk about how this part ends out, and then I'll tell you what I looked up and how that also popped up to me that.
Okay, well, they talk about his butler passed away, who was very concerned with. He was looking through the episode, passed away because of pneumonia, which is AIDS.
This is AIDS. So that's what I was like. They mean AIDS?
Yeah.
Because they're like the what is it? Funeral homes wouldn't take people like the way his body is. And so I was like, they mean AIDS? And I looked it up. And yeah, I read a lot about the earlier thoughts about AIDS, and then Bash being gay was also brought in there. So you didn't realize that like right away, or when they showed his mirror full of superstar Billy Graham and everybody posing.
Yeah, which kudos for them discussing that as well. Because there is a segment of wrestling fans that watch wrestling because of that reason. They like the athleticism, they like everything about it, but then there's a sense of like,
also like dude on dude.
Much in the same way that dudes watch Glow.
Yeah.
They puts them in the feels.
Yeah.
This is wrestling, and I like wrestling, but this also...
It's hot chicks doing hot chick stuff on hot chicks.
Excites me. And sometimes you enjoy it on a couple of those levels. Like you can appreciate the talent of what's going on, but at the same time, too, attractive female.
You jerk off to this. So.
I dig this. This is the type of girl that I like, and that's not being presented on whatever else I'm watching entertainment with.
Yes.
So. Anyways, we get to episode 10. Every potato has a receipt.
I hated this name.
Just
because of I just hate the use of wrestler terms.
Yes.
Just in general, I just hate everything. A wrestler's girlfriend used the word gimmick the other day, and I wanted to be like, if I hit women, right now, just be a little pop to the ear, just a little. But I hate it. It makes my skin crawl.
I hate it as well as regular people using gimmick and brother. And that was part of the reasons I shied away from something to wrestle with, because I was like, I don't want to hear Conrad Thompson say any of those
I can
fucking
see that.
terms.
You're right. I can totally see that.
But the more I've listened to it, I feel like he's rolled back and he's developed his own things and put his own things into the lexicon of professional wrestling, that I'm like, okay, you are contributing. You're not just taking away.
You're not just leeching off of it.
Yeah, you're not being a copycat or saying things to be cool, but you are actually developing your own lexicon in the world of professional wrestling. So I've come to appreciate it.
I had never really minded his so much, because I also listened to the Bruce Pritchard. Very good. But yeah, just like normal, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Or when wrestlers use the term civilian. I want to punch somebody in the fucking face.
See, and comedians do that, so it's always a thing. And I'll use the term as well, but I mostly mean it as normal ass fucking white people. Yeah. Which I've always said. That's always been, instead of civilian, I've always like fucking white people.
Yeah, man. Of course.
And to be a white person, you don't have to be a white person. No. It's just fucking normal ass fucking behavior. I'm like, fucking white people. That's just my tagline. And I've always bitched about that. Like, why do fucking white people have to specifically only work between the hours of 9 to 5? So we're all on the fucking road between 8 and 9, and we're all in a rush to fucking be there. So when I'm trying to make a town, or I'm trying to fucking come back from a fucking show early in the morning, I hit all this fucking traffic, like fucking assholes. White people. Or I'm trying to leave and I have to leave at 5 because I've got 12 hours or whatever it is. Fucking white people on the
and I'm going to hit 2 goddamn rush hours.
Fucking white people, man. Fucking white people.
White people.
That's just my tagline.
That's your thing.
So saying civilian is kind of my version of that. That's how I get around that. But we can't get around the fact that we have to have a wedding.
Segways 101.
Yes.
We're back in.
They talk about the wedding with Britannica and Cupcake, which ends up being Bash. Bash steps in. So
confesses his love. And then, so did you notice Carmen giving the real weird, what the fuck look when Bash confesses love to Britannica?
Oh, I did not notice that.
She gives this really weird offset look where everybody else is kind of happy about it. She seems very upset.
Oh, she would be on the radar.
Yeah,
she'd be
either she would know he was gay.
She would be on the Mesh Network.
Yeah,
back to a Westworld reference.
Yeah. God damn it.
She'd be on the Mesh Network, knowing
what's up.
But my girlfriend's hooked into the Mesh Network too.
Yeah, she just knows. Well, she's all that close work she does with drag queens.
Yes,
or just all the shows she sees. But at first, I was like, is she in love with him also? But I was like, no, she probably just knows he's gay and he's doing this for whatever reason. She knows this is
bullshit. She's like, where is this coming from?
Yeah, why are you lying to yourself or whatever?
Yeah, because she's like, because that's been her push with Arthie. Don't lie to yourself. Yeah. You be what you want to be. So, which I'm sure that will be something they explored in season 3. So I can only imagine.
Well, I mean, she does kiss Junk Chain before she eliminates her, so
yeah.
So we do get that. We get that comeuppance.
Exactly. So that'd be interesting to see when Arthie's parents end up seeing that in the next portion of that. But this whole wedding sequence.
Oh man.
This is pretty cool. This is where we see Chavo and Carlito coming in the locker room. You know what? This just proves my fact more that Chavo is the reason why there's attention to detail in the show. Chavo comes into the locker room wearing a Ribera jacket, wearing Zubaz. He knew exactly.
Yeah, I got this.
Yeah, I know exactly what this guy would wear, and I would know what his gear would look like.
Because all the indie wrestlers today are wearing it.
Yeah, and I was just when they've gotten in that wedding battle royal, I'm like, he goes, Chavo better be taking a fucking flying head scissors, tilt-a-whirl head scissors, and sure as fuck it did. I'm like, oh, I know you taught one of these girls how to do a tilt-a-whirl, and you're just like, we'll put it on Betty Gilpin. You're gonna need to know how to do a tilt-a-whirl head scissors.
Get ready, sweetheart. It's time.
We've been building to this point for 2 seasons, so. Chavo, great.
Yeah.
Great bass for the girls and all of this. Got his backflip in. And just the idea.
All they cared about was TV time. Has my face been on here long enough? All right, let's get me out of here.
Exactly. And that's exactly what indie wrestlers would want. Like, I just want to be on TV. Yeah. And that's what they would do it for. So, but the idea that you turn the wedding and the tossing of the bouquet into a battle royal, whoever
was real cool. That's a good idea.
That's a fun little thing. You know, that's definitely something that you would see on a women's show, because I was just at a wedding last week.
We're waiting for that bouquet to go.
And there was more women that were fighting for that bouquet than there were men fighting for that fucking garter. So
because we know it's a death sentence.
Exactly.
But you better put that down. Who called it?
Deja caught it.
Huh.
So
wrestled her the next day.
So and then somebody, I can't remember, it was like a relative got the garter. Yeah. So, and then they need to put the garter back on, the Deja. So I was like, okay.
There you go. That's the thing.
And the higher up you go, the more years of marriage. So he had to get all. Yeah. This was that.
So they got to third base in front of everybody, and that's cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. So. But yeah, I hate to say it, at Cedric and Ariel's wedding, maybe not as good as Britannica and Ash / Cupcakes.
Not at all. Because there wasn't a cupcake going, you know what, fuck all y'all, this shit's fake.
Which everybody immediately got hot at immediately at him. And that's great. It's little nuances.
Real good, yeah.
Yeah, I like that was the thing that's like, fuck you.
Fuck y'all, fuck all y'all.
Yeah. So, and everybody else got mad at him for it.
For getting his heart broken.
Yeah. Also, too, I love...
He got his heart broken.
Yeah. I love that he got heartbroken, but I also love Ruth's comment, like... Holy shit, fucking Britannica just married a millionaire without a prenup.
Yeah, that's good too.
That's a good fucking line.
Didn't even think about that one.
Good fucking line. But let's recap what happens with this battle royal. You have Chavo calling out spots very loudly. We have intergender wrestling. You have tons of comedy. So basically what I'm saying to you is the season finale of Glow is Jim Cornette's hellscape. I was
just about to say Jim Cornette fucking living.
Hellscape.
Yeah.
This is his hellscape. This is...
And someone like Chavo Guerrero, who he probably respects, doing it.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing that's funny about Jim. If he likes you and you do something that's so out of bounds, like he will go out of his way to leave your name out of it. Like when Jerry Lawler set fire to Joey Ryan's dick. It's amazing how... You can, like I said, that's what he did. Jerry Lawler shut fire at Joey Ryan's dick. It's amazing how you can say that sentence and not say Jerry Lawler's name.
Yeah.
But Jim Cornette found a way to tell that story without having to say Jerry Lawler's name. He does this amazing. If he loves and respects you, he will leave you completely out of whatever.
What he's about to shit on.
What he's going to shit on, even though you were one of the people that okayed it, maybe even been your idea about it, and you're all for it.
How Memphis was that?
And it was a good thing for that person, and was good to them. So it is amazing how he can do that. Like,
and he fucking does.
He does that, and he also did that with my girlfriend because of the whole TNA, Jenna Mosca, Charmel. They made that came up on his show. One of the things that they do on that show, which is, hey, here's some stuff that people are talking about that's bad or good, or here's something that Kenny Omega did or the Young Bucks did. We want you to watch it and your reaction to it. That's like his thing. Is to just throw stuff at.
Yeah, I've seen some of that.
And one of the things was that match that my girlfriend was a part of. So she, for a while, delayed watching that and seeing what Jim's response would be, because they are good friends outside of wrestling and they work together in wrestling. And he amazingly left her name out of his mouth, which is why I can't say anything bad about him. So I'm just waiting for the day that he turns on my girlfriend.
So that I may retort.
The floodgates. So, but until that time, I have nothing but...
Jim, this is Sparta.
I have nothing but nothing to say about Jim. That's I won't open that can of worms.
So I've said everything I had to say about Jim Cornette on this podcast.
But I'm just saying that this episode is his hellscape.
Yes.
And I don't think he would disagree with
No, he totally...
So I think I've got a beat on what he likes and dislikes.
He'll let you go on this one.
Yes, he'll allow that. But I like how we get to the idea of like, hey, let's do a live show in Vegas because that's eventually what Glow kind of become. And I was kind of surprised that it took this while to get there because I thought because Glow did go on the road a couple of times, and I thought that this season 2 is about them going on the road.
Yeah,
but
don't they go to Vegas in the first season in the limo? I thought they went there, like, I don't know if they were just doing promos and shit there, but I thought they went to Vegas just for like a minute or something.
They might have.
When they were looking for venues, possibly.
Maybe not. I don't know. I don't
been a
think
while.
so. Yeah.
I'll go back and listen to it.
Yeah, there were some things that popped up through the first season that I was like, oh, okay. But apparently season 3 is going to be all about Vegas. Yeah. And then season 4 could be all about them being on the road. Like, just onward and upward. Yeah. For this whole series. But I like it.
Yeah. Very good.
I like where we go with all this. What were some takeaways, some thoughts that we may have glazed over? We had to cover 10 episodes in about an hour.
Yeah, so we can't hit everything.
Yeah.
Certain points I think we didn't hit on. Cherry Bang being an actress for a minute, like a real actress. And they tried to white her up, or not really white her up, but like
mess with her hair.
Yeah, and downplay her character, like take away her character, basically.
No, because she was having a hard time reading the lines.
Yeah. Which I thought there was going to be some triumphant way that she stayed an actress somehow, but it didn't work.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But her expertise was stunt work.
Yeah.
She's her physicality.
Why would she be a good actress?
She doesn't need to be. Yeah. She can hit a couple lines. It's her physicality which makes her great as a pro wrestler.
Yeah. So. The whole gay club scene when they were looking for Florian was fun, which is where I figured it would come out straight up that he was homosexual.
Yeah.
I do like how they positively played with homosexuality, which is great. The Junk Chain and Beirut relationship, and then everyone realizing he's gay and he doesn't, or does and just doesn't say it.
Yeah, and I like how Yolanda's character is very sex positive, like humping the nurse and just like, yeah, I'm fucking gay, get the fuck over it.
What?
Which is the attitude we should all have.
Yes, who gives a shit?
Who fucking gives a shit? And like, you're a fun fucking person to hang around. Like that's, you're fucking like, I don't give a shit, fuck it. You know, this is what I fucking like, or like, oh, that girl's hot. Oh yeah, I've totally hit it. You know, and like, oh, you want to see my tits? You know, because it doesn't.
Yeah, the whole strip club with Mark Maron being there was good.
Yeah, and he's just like, now that I fucking know you, I don't want to.
Now that you're a real person.
Now that you're a real person.
Will you please not take your top off till I leave here? Just take this money.
He's like, I don't know. Sometimes I come off. I'm like, all right, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. But yeah, that would be exactly.
Yeah, those are the only things that we skipped that I really enjoyed. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way female empowerment, super amped up. The perfect girl not being so perfect, obviously, as we learned through Debbie being a fucking psycho, and all of her world kind of coming down. And
do we like her at the end of this?
I never did. I did not.
See, I understood her position.
Yeah, I mean, I can
a little
understand,
bit more,
but...
and like I said, as I run through my fucking emotional mess of a brain right now, I can relate more to her. So I feel that I'm ready to see some good things come to her, and I understand. I feel she's a good person at the end of the day, but I feel like she got caught up in everything you're supposed to do, and I think that's probably what's going to be explored more often. Like the reason I was just trying to get what I needed to get. You know, I got this producer credit. I dealt with fucking sexual abusers. Why fucking can't you?
Yeah.
I think that's really a crux of her character is I have to eat shit. I know I have to eat shit. And I will dive into the shit knowing I will get fucking splattered with it because I know at the bottom of this fucking pile is a diamond fucking ring, a championship belt, or whatever, $1 million, and I'm gonna fucking get there because I'm supposed to. And you think you're fucking better than me? It just I think that's the whole crux of who she is as a person, where Ruth is like, I'm uncompromising, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do it the right way, which is a nice
keeping the art alive,
which is a nice rah thing, but doesn't always work out. Yeah. Sometimes you become a martyr with that mentality, but then the person that dove through the shit is the one that actually gets their hands on the actual $1 million. Yeah. And sometimes they're not. But being the person that doesn't find that diamond ring at the bottom of a pile of shit sometimes ends up being the person worse off than the person that stood on their beliefs and got kicked out immediately.
Yeah.
That's
I thought it was going to be Sam that I hated the whole show. Because I didn't like him through most of the beginning. Like the first season, most of it, I didn't like him. But, he gets redeemed at the end. Starts off again right away just being a cocksucker for the first half. And I didn't mind Debbie at the first half. And they kind of did this weird switch of sides. Babyface turn, heel turn. Little double switch.
Well, of course, you got what he's dealing with his daughter.
Yeah.
And
which I really loved those parts. Him and Justine together are great.
Yeah, and now you're teasing this thing that he's got romantic feelings for Ruth, but Ruth is dating a guy that is a younger version of Sam.
Yeah.
Which is something that's kind of the reverse of what happens typically with males and females in entertainment. Usually there's a man that falls for a woman who is a younger version. A man follows this younger version of his wife or something. You see that happening a lot. So you have kind of the reverse of that going on with this show. So that's interesting. And then how does Sam deal with that as a man? And
he just jokes about it in the next episode, which is cool. Good on him.
Yeah.
So,
how does he process that? And then it's a situation like it's a proximity thing for him a little bit, because that's why he falls for usually his co-stars, because he feels like there's a little bit of control there. He's also doesn't have faith in himself that he can go outside of his bubble of whatever he's doing and find somebody that would find himself as worthwhile. So that's my own shit that I'm projecting onto him, maybe. But I imagine that's why he's always being involved with co-stars or people that are close to him, or one night flings that result in it's a 17-year-old daughter. Those things.
I sex with her 17 years ago. Now she's at my house yelling at my daughter.
Yeah, great fucking line.
Yep.
There are some really great, well-written lines, and I've brought up Westworld and Game of Thrones just on this podcast alone. But there are a couple of holes in a high-minded show like Westworld. I'm like, somebody wouldn't act that way. Or why is this happening? Or this doesn't really make sense. Or, even though they're trying to make this high-minded idea of what consciousness is, and I think there's a lot of things they nail, but there's a lot of things they really fucking whiff on.
Yeah.
Now, I know this is a show about female wrestlers and, a couple of people's journeys, and you're not dealing with anything too high-minded as the idea of human consciousness and its history of what it means to be a human being. But a lot of things are written very well and very particular and precise and nailed so specifically. There weren't really anything other than a couple of wrestling things that I was like, no, fucking this wouldn't happen. Or this is not how people act.
We don't talk that loud.
Yeah, or this is dumb. Or, there's other than the few handful of things that we listed in here, the 2 or 3 things just in this entire season, and I was like, no, this doesn't make sense. Or why does this person act this way? Where all this season 2 of Westworld, there are multiple times this doesn't make any sense.
You're losing me, guys.
This isn't. Not every Delos employee is a complete fucking moron. How does this person not know that the park is under attack?
Yeah.
Those minor things that you're supposed to don't pay attention to that.
Which I guess if you haven't finished season 2 of Westworld, also spoilers.
That's how season 1 ended.
Okay.
The park under attack. I'm not spoiling anything with season 2. There's an upright rebellion.
Okay.
Everybody should fucking know that.
This thing, we have to put a cautionary on this one. Contains spoilers of Westworld.
That's in previews and all that stuff. But I'm not giving anything away that Entertainment Weekly doesn't give out every single week. So, but yeah, there are things to that I'm just like, this done. But there was no point in this that I was like, this is not how people react. If anything, I was like, no, this is exactly how people react, and just that care of people being people and their decisions they make as human beings. I got every sense of every person, and I could see a little bit of oh, I know a person like that, or I know this, and this is exactly how they would act. And every bit of it, and just even the nuanced thing, I'm like, hey, you should go to the consulate, and you already know what's going to happen, but you could see people telling somebody to do that, and somebody being dumb enough to think that was a good idea. That's
you're being deported now. Fuck.
Yeah. So yeah. All those little things, and just the idea of a marriage license. I'm well, they already got a marriage license with a cupcake, but then I'm like, oh, that's right, you have to sign it with the priest for it to be actually illegal. So technically, this marriage license isn't legal, so you have to get another one to get the priest to sign it. That's what makes it officially legal. Yeah, and I'm like, just even that little nuance too. Westworld will be like, oh, don't pay attention to that marriage license is already signed. You know what I'm saying? That's what they would do.
That marriage license? Don't worry about that marriage license.
Yeah. So just that even reference back to that. Just paying attention to the details.
Yeah.
which is why they get the wrestling stuff so correctly for me. Any other thoughts, Zane?
I think we nailed it.
Okay. All right. Well, we have the same reviews as always. They said part of the reason why I put the whole T-shirt challenge thing out is because you have to DM me, you have to tweet at me, we have to conversate that way, so I'm not getting disappointed every time I check iTunes to see that it's the same exact people. Which on Stitcher we have Ratlin, who says right along OSW review. Jake and Zane understand how to joke about a niche interest. And Glow knows how to do a niche interest thing as a successful Netflix series.
We're still trying to hold out for our Netflix series.
We're trying. We're very trying. iTunes, you will believe man can fly, and the review is entitled, delicious. Give me more. It's a great review. They are ruling the heap on reviews. Guys, please, please, please leave a review so I could give you a free T-shirt. I want to give you a free T-shirt very, very badly. Fuck it. I can't find the fucking card that tells you all the other stuff. Zane, do you got anything coming up right now that you want people
to know? Just bring up like your Facebook and let you read your schedule off?
Yeah.
Well, we're together a lot coming up this month. Not this weekend, but the next. We're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for SuperCon, that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Mm-hmm. We are doing some panels. Mm-hmm. We're doing a panel on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And we're wrestling all those 4 nights. And then 2 weeks later in Raleigh for SuperCon, where we'll have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday wrestling. And you'll also be with me doing Queens of Combat on the Friday and Saturday night. Mm-hmm. And I believe we can now talk about it since we have a time slot.
Okay. I forgot to check. That was like, there's something I was supposed to check, but I'm glad you checked. See, 2 things. Mm-hmm. The name of the kid from Sandlot and this piece of information that you were supposed to bring to the podcast.
I brought it. I brought it in.
Okay, so bring it in. What is the piece of information?
We will be doing our live How Did This Get Booked at 2 to 2:45 on Sunday in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay, that's right. And the show will be discussing it. We're going to discuss what we're discuss.
Which we have mentioned so far on the show, the movie The Wrestler.
The Wrestler. We figured it's a good, easy one that everyone's kind of seen. We didn't want to pick something that was like niche that only a few people would have seen. Which
is old CZW tape we found under the bottom of a desk.
Which we thought a WCW pay-per-view that is discussed. It was Uncensored 95 or 94? It was 94.
Whatever one had the truck match.
Yes, I think it's 94 because Dustin Rhodes is on it. I think Dustin Rhodes was still involved. Maybe 95. No, I think it is 95. Okay. Whatever our live episode was, basically enough people hadn't seen that pay-per-view. Like, people showed up to support us because they like us, which we hope happens again in Raleigh. But we're also hoping that you have seen the movie The Wrestler and we can discuss it a little bit. Yeah. And actually, you know what? I'll tell you what. I just found some wrestler posters at the office. There's like just a handful of them. I'll probably bring them.
And just give them out to people that show up.
Yeah. Keyword is probably. Not guaranteed. Probably.
Not guaranteed that it's not guaranteed we hand them out. It's not guaranteed that people show up.
Exactly.
That is where the guarantee does not lie.
That's where the guarantee does not lie. So at the Raleigh SuperCon on Sunday at 2:00, that'll be a part of your admission into the SuperCon. It's a good time. I highly recommend you come out to that. We're going to be discussing the movie The Wrestler, and we may have a special guest. I don't know.
I don't know about that one yet either, but I know we're still in talks with that guy.
Okay, we've been back and forth and possibly having a very special guest. If not, it'll
still be us.
We'll get some.
The special guest will be all of you.
Yeah, exactly. You are our special guest. We're highly encouraging that you come out to the Raleigh SuperCon for our next. We're going to say live, How Did This Get Booked? Where last time I almost had a stroke. If anything else, show up and possibly see me have a stroke.
That'll definitely happen.
Exactly. Right.
So a weekend full of wrestling. Also, in Florida on the Friday, I think it's like 12 to 12:45, something in that time range. Me and Jude McKenzie, and I'm probably going to hook you to do it, are going to be running a panel on how to cut a promo. And it'll be talking to fans who also probably won't show up. Okay. How to cut a promo, and then we're gonna have everyone cut promos.
Okay, that sounds like
I got volunteered for that on my way over here. So in turn, I'm volunteering you.
Okay, well, I haven't checked my phone recently. Maybe I got volunteered. So, and I
Maybe.
haven't confirmed. So we're doing a lot of stuff for SuperCon.
Yeah, we'll be everywhere.
Just look up Raleigh SuperCon, Florida SuperCon. We're all over the place doing all kinds of stuff. Who knows? We might be hosting a panel with William Shatner.
Oh, man. We can only hope.
We can only hope. But for more information about the live SuperCon event, make sure you like us on Facebook. We're How Did This Get Booked on Facebook. Make sure you log on to the website, howdidthisgetbooked.com. You can buy a t-shirt, but it's better if
you don't.
If you leave a review on iTunes or Stitcher, which please subscribe on those platforms, iTunes and Stitcher. Also SoundCloud, Google Play, YouTube, and wherever podcasts are available. This has been another edition of How Did This Get Booked?
Woo!